Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a video that I think is a good companion to my very recent Q3 update video that I did, and that is the end of the year tag. So this is a tag that kind of looks forward towards the last little bit of the year and asks some questions and goals of what you have planned. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. And the first question is, are there any books that you started reading that you still need to finish this year? And other than reads that I'm currently in the middle of, no, there's not anything that I DNF'd or put down for a little bit. I actually don't DNF books. So pretty much if I pick it up to read, I'm going to finish it one way or another. It is a fatal flaw when it comes to my reading. I wish I could DNF stuff, but I always make myself finish for whatever reason. Now, what I will say for an answer to this question is there are two series that I started this year. Well, technically one I didn't start this year, but I have been working on this year. And one of those is The Wars of Light and Shadow by Jenny Wirtz. I actually started this maybe a year or two ago, but I need to, or I would like to start the fourth book, The Fugitive Prince, here in 2024 before we go over into 2025. I doubt I would finish it in 2024. I normally take a long time to read one of those books. I really, get immersed in it and just take my time enjoying it. And the other book would be House of Change, which is book 4 of Malazan Book of the Fallen. I would also like to start this, but between starting that Fugitive Prince and Wind and Truth at some point this year, along with some other reads, I don't know if that will actually happen, but I would like to at least start, because that's another series that I take a really long time with and really don't rush through, take my time, and it just takes me a longer time to finish than most of the stuff that I read. But those would be like two series to kind of give you somewhat of an answer for this question. Question number 2 is, do you have any autumnal books to transition into the end of the year? And I don't really think that I have autumnal books, but what I do have is some horror books that I planned to read for October. So I guess that's kind of a transition into this year, right? It starts to get a little bit colder. It's actually fall where I am right now. At least it has for this week. We'll see if it stays like that. We like to yo-yo our weather around here. But I do have a couple of horror reads that I plan on reading for this season. So it's kind of a transition, right? It kind of counts. It's the spirit of this question, right? And the first one is The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. And this is basically like a creepy in the woods story. That's pretty much all I know about it. I know it's really short, but as somebody who used to spend a lot of time in the woods, especially growing up, I was a kid who was outside a lot, running around in the woods and doing all kinds of things, getting lost and exploring. And as somebody who still likes to go out and get away from things, go hiking and just really explore in nature, I think this could be a book that I find really unsettling. And the next time I'm alone in the woods, miles from civilization, maybe run a chill down my spine. The other one I want to read for this season is All the Fiends of Hell by Adam Neville. This is like a first contact horror novel that does not go very well for the humans. I don't know too much more about it than that, other than it's brutal and there are people who are left and they don't know why they're left, and they're kind of trying to survive after the aliens have basically killed everything. So that is another one that I want to read that is hopefully a good first contact horror story. And then the last one I want to read is The Deep by Nick Cutter. I read The Troop by Nick Cutter last year, really enjoyed it. I'm reading this book partially because this book scared my girlfriend so much that she couldn't finish it, and so I need to read it so I can tell her how it actually ends. It really creeped her out, and so she put it down, and so it's my job now to read it, finish it, and figure out what happened for the both of us. Question number 3, are there any new releases that you are still looking forward to? And I think, luckily for me, all of the other anticipated releases that I had for this year are out, and I have read all of them except for The Fury of the Gods, which comes out, or might be out already. It's super close. I'll have to check to see if my pre-order has come in yet. So if it's not out yet, technically, The Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. I'm very excited to finish out the Bloodborne saga. At least I think it's only supposed to be 3 books. And then just like everybody else who reads fantasy, Winds and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. Super excited for that, and fingers crossed that it's good. Wasn't the biggest fan of Rhythm of War. I mean, I still really liked it. It was still in a top 10 book of the year for me, but there was a lot in that book that I wish we could have sped through and stuff. So I'm really hoping that book 5, he's really good at endings normally, and this is the ending to the first arc. So I am very much looking forward to it and hoping that it is the best book of the series so far. Question number 4 is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? And so I already kind of mentioned 2 of them. I would really like to read The Fugitive Prince and House of Change. So those are 2. Like I said, I don't think either of those will get finished in 2024 unless I really, really tried. But some other ones are The Blackest Heart and The Lonesome Crown, which are book 2 and 3 of the 5-War Angel trilogy by Brian Lee Durfee. I am getting close to finishing The Forgetting Moon, and it is one of the best fantasy books that I've ever read. I'm not done with it yet, so I don't know exactly where it's going to fall, but I have super enjoyed The Forgetting Moon. It's just been such a good time, so I would definitely like to get to those as well. I would also like to get to The Shining, which I probably will end up being a November read. I want to get one more Stephen King book in this year. This has also kind of been like a Stephen King year for me. I've read, 4 or 5 books from him this year, and I want to do The Shining and kind of ramp up to do 11/22/63, The Stand, and then maybe start The Dark Tower at some point in 2025, but we'll see about that. And then another book that has been on my maybe list for a super long time. If you watch my TBR videos, you know there's always a maybe section at the end of it of, because I'm a mood reader, these might just be some books that I decide to pick up that are kind of in the back of my mind, and Starship Troopers has been on that list for months, multiple months in a row. Just throughout the year, it's been like, I kind of want to read that, and so I would like to read that one by the end of the year. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to. If I have time, it is one of those books that I would definitely like to fit into 2024. Question number 5, is there a book that you think could shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I think any of the books from the 5 Warrior Angels has that chance. I would be a little shocked just because right now my number 1 book feels like one that nothing is going to touch, but I think it's a possibility with any 3 of those. I have heard that each book gets better, and I'm already really liking The Forgetting Moon, so there's absolutely a possibility there. I would be a little surprised if The Fugitive Prince or House of Chains, if I even get to them in 2024, which we'll see. I would be surprised if they were my top book of the year, but not like to a point where it's like I've enjoyed the other books in the series, but for them to kind of take that huge step up, because I'm such a hard, I don't know, I rank things pretty hard. So I would be a little bit surprised if one of those did. Same with either The Fury of the Gods. I would love if that somehow was even better than all of my expectations or anything. I would love for that to maybe be my top book of the year. And obviously I would absolutely love for Wind and Truth to be my number 1 book of the year. I don't think it will be. Like I said, the books that are at the very top of my list are just going to be some really hard ones to pass up. But, you know, Words of Radiance is one of my favorite books of all time, so maybe Wind and Truth can be even better. And that is what I'm hoping for. But I would probably be a little bit surprised. I don't think Wind and Truth will be my favorite, but you know, it would be a great thing to happen. And it would really be what a highlight to end the year if my favorite book of the year came out in December and we just ended the year with like a bang. That would be awesome. And then the last question is, have I started to make any reading plans for next year? And to be honest, no, not really. I will at some point, probably in December. I'll have a bunch of videos like everybody else that are wrap-up kind of videos, and then looking forward to 2025. I do have some slight plans. Like there are definitely series that I want to continue. Malazan, Wars of Light and Shadow are 2 really big ones. At some point, I would really like to finish or start Robin Hobb. I would like to start Dark Tower. These are all like really loose plans, and being a mood reader, some of that kind of comes and goes, and so it will just depend on how I'm feeling, you know, at that time. But really for me, the most I plan ahead is about a month, maybe some stuff 2 months ahead of time, but I just like to be able to pick things up and, you know, read them when I want. I don't like to be too locked down into anything. So if I, you know, decided in April of 2025, I'm absolutely going to be reading X, Y, and Z, like that's just not really me too often. With new releases, that's kind of as close as I get to it. I do like to read. There are new releases that I like to read as soon as they come out, like Wind and Truth. This year it was one of the Bobby versus books, Mercy of the Gods by James S. A. Corey. Like I knew when those were happening, but I haven't even looked at new releases for 2025 yet. I have no idea what's coming out, what authors I like have new stuff coming. So as far as 2025, no real plans as far as reading goes. So like I said, in December, I'll start to take a little bit of a peek into 2025 and set up some big kind of like overarching goals that aren't super strict. Like I know I'll have a video coming out of like series that I want to prioritize in 2025. I did that in 2024 as well, and I'm pretty sure I completely failed. I think that there's a lot of series on that list that I didn't even come close to starting, and we are basically done with the year at this point. So we'll see, but yeah, not too much for 2025. But that is all of the questions. I'd love to hear any of your answers down below in the comments, but that's all for me. And as always, have a good one.